Hey everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure to check out my Creative Fabric of Fans page listed down below. That is a fun subscription that you can join where I offer SVGs each month, and I'm going to start offering exclusive early access to my YouTube videos so that you guys can see them before anybody else. I'm excited to do that. I can't wait to see what you guys think. But today's video, we are going to be making little mini books. These are super cute, super trendy, and honestly pretty easy. Now you don't need to use a die cut machine, so no CRICUT, no Silhouette, nothing like that is needed. You could use them, but I chose not to for this because I didn't want to waste paper. We're going to use Canva to print out our book covers. We're going to use some Mod Podge, a paintbrush, and just a little bit of fun to make these. Now you can put them in anything that you want. I chose to put them in this cute little jar and I added a little vinyl decal to it, but these are really cute in shadow boxes, in jars, just anywhere that you want to display the books that you have read. These could be really fun for a teacher in the classroom as well. So use your creativity, have fun with these, and let's get started on making our very own mini books.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
You're going to start either on Amazon or Goodreads. I'm going to use Goodreads because that's how I track the books that I read, but you can absolutely find these images on Amazon as well. So what I'm going to do is click on the cover to enlarge the cover, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the image. Now we're going to go over to Canva, and you can do this with a free Canva account, super duper easy. And I want to thank Stevie and John on TikTok for showing us this really awesome thing that we can make. So what you'll do is go to custom size, and up here where it says width and height, just go and change the px to inches, and you're going to do 8.5 by 11 because that's how large your printer paper is. Go ahead and click create new design. It's going to open up a second page. You can just get rid of the original home Canva page. You don't need it. Now what's really cool about this is you can just simply right click and click paste, and there is your book cover. So it's really easy. Now, she uses about 0.8 inches by 1.3 inches, so I'll probably go about 0.9. I just want mine just like a hair bigger, but I think that that is pretty good sizing. Now, it is really small, so what I'm going to do is zoom in on my page, just using this little button down here so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. The next thing that you need to do is to duplicate this, so what you're going to do is just right-click, click copy, click paste, and you're good to go. Now, there's these cool little grid lines that help you line them up. So I just put them a little bit further apart from each other. The next step that she shows is to grab a square, which we're just going to grab a random square from the elements. You can just search up here and search for square, and you'll find one. Now what we want to do is line the square up with the edge of our book, and we're going to go ahead and size it down, and then you can size it down this way. And we'll just make sure that it covers the whole book. And then what you're going to do is right click on this and click send backwards. You'll need to do that probably twice just because you need it to go behind your book. Now she changes the color of her spine here because this is going to be the spine of your book. Totally optional. You can if you want to. You don't have to. But what I like, and she pointed out, was that it does pull the colors of your book, the main colors, into your image here, so you can kind of choose whatever color you want. I kind of like the pink. I think that's pretty cute. Now the next thing that she mentions is it's really easy to resize your next book because all you need to do is right click, click copy, click paste, and then you have the square all ready for your next book. So I'll go back over to the Goodreads, and I'm going to go back to my reading selections here, and we are going to pull up our next book. So I just want to enlarge this cover. I'm going to go ahead and copy the image, take it over to Canva, paste the image, and then we're going to size it down so that it fits into our rectangle. But by duplicating that rectangle, it makes it a lot easier to redo the book. It's just already sized. So, and everything likes to line up on Canva, so it's really easy. Now, she made a good point. If you want these to look exactly the same, no matter which way they're flipped, because I'm going to put them in a shadow box, you'll need to turn the left side cover, because we're not making a back cover. So you'll need to turn your left side cover and turn it completely around, 180 degrees. And you'll do that for all of your books. That way, no matter which direction your book faces in your shadow box, it will face the correct direction in your like visual. So I want to make sure I change the back color here. And like I said, because this pulls in these colors, it's super easy to change. So we're going to do that for all of our books. We're going to get them all lined up on this page. So I'll go ahead and do that really quick off camera because otherwise this video would be like really long. And then I'm going to show you guys how to do your next steps that she taught us. Now that I have all of my books laid out on my page, you'll see that some of the covers are a little bit bigger than others, like wider and things. It's totally fine. Don't need to worry about it. It'll be absolutely okay once we go to put them together and fold them. So what I want to do now is click download. And I'm going to download these as a PDF print. And all I need to do is just click download. Now this does take a minute just to kind of process. So don't worry if it doesn't pop up right away. Just give it a second and it'll pop up asking you where you want to save it. So I'm going to save mine into my CRICUT folder. And I'm going to save it as a print then cut. So I'm going to put it over in print then cut. Even though I'm not using my CRICUT for this, this is just going to help me so I know where to find it. I'll call this books 1 because if I ever want to make these again, I can. And then all I do is click save. The next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and open up my PDF and you'll see here that it's got everything laid out and ready to go. So all we have to do for this part is hit print. And this may take, again, a little bit of a second to load. And make sure you choose the correct printer. I'm going to use my ET2720. That's just my regular inkjet printer. I'm going to make sure that it has color chosen, and then I'm going to go into my more settings, and I want to go into use system dialog just to double check on a few settings. So again, I'm going to need to select the correct printer, which is again the Epson ET2720, choose preferences, and I want to just make sure that it has the color selected. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on standard print. These don't need to be really fancy. They'll be okay on a standard print. And then I want to go over to more options and I want to turn off the high speed print. That tends to leave lines in your prints if you have it on. It's great if you're printing something super simple and like not crazy, but if it does tend to leave a little bit of a line if you're doing the high speed print. So I think that looks pretty good. What you can do now is you can either just hit OK and print, or you can change any color settings you may need to, but for my printer, I don't need to do any of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and print this off, and then we'll show you the next thing that we need to make the pages inside. Once you have all of your books printed out, you can either use a paper cutter like this guy, if you'd like to. I'm not great with those, so I prefer to just use some scissors and hand cut these out, especially since I didn't line these up perfectly along the edge. But you just want to make sure that you're cutting really close to the design so you don't have white on the edge. If you get a little bit of white, it's not the end of the world. It'll look fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all of these cut out really nice and neat. And then I'll show you guys how we're going to make the pages. So this will be easier if you have a paper cutter, but if you don't, you can do this without. You can absolutely just use a ruler and a pencil. So what I'm going to do is I cut these at 1 1/4. So that's going to be 1, and we'll line it up right here. You want to make sure you get these pretty straight because this is going to be the inside pages of our book. Then what I want to do to this strip is to cut this down into 2-inch sections. So all I do is I place this in my paper cutter, line it up with the 2 best I can. Again, you want to keep it pretty straight, and then you're just going to chop it off. And then all you do is fold it in half. You can usually fold like 3 or 4 sheets together to make one like book of pages, but I just have 2 sheets there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut down a ton of this paper. We'll get it all kind of settled and folded, and then I'm going to show you guys how we're going to put the book together. So what I did is I took 4 sheets of the paper, the little stacks, and then I just fold them in half. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. These are not going to be 100% perfect. It's okay. The pages are never going to be lined up. It's never going to be exactly like a regular book. So you don't have to worry about perfection with this. But I'm just going to fold up a couple. And I think usually I can do about 4 or 5 of these in a book. But I just like to do 4 sheets. I just feel like that gives a nice kind of even look. And then I fold them together. So I'll get all of these folded, and then I'm going to show you how to fold the book covers so that we can put the pages into the books. You are going to need Mod Podge for this next part and a paintbrush that you don't care about. So you're going to want to take these little pages that you have created, and like I said, I kind of usually put like 4 or 5 together. Kind of just depends on how I'm feeling. So I think we'll do 5. I think 5 will be good. And I'm going to get them all lined up along their spine, because the spine is really the most important part. I'm going to go ahead and open my Mod Podge. And what I want to do, and this is going to be a little bit messy, that's partially why I have the silicone mat down. But all I'm going to do, and you want to use a good amount, get some Mod Podge and get it all up in them crevices. You want to just kind of crevasse them, if you will. It can help to have little craft clamps when doing this as well. And you are going to get glue on your fingers. I like these craft clamps from the Dollar Tree. They are fantastic. So what you're going to do is you're going to put Mod Podge on all the sides here. And again, you want to make sure you're really getting in there. So I'm using a smaller, softer brush. So I'm really getting into all those pages and getting all around. But again, you are going to get glue on yourself, so be aware of that. It is kind of messy. This is a messy craft, but I love it. It's really fun. It's a fun way to display your books. It's really cute. It's fun, something you can do with the whole family. I could see this being really cool in a classroom as well. You know, if you guys read books in your class, make a little like book jar or a book frame of all the books you read that year. Or you could make all the little books, and then as you read them, put them in your jar. So again, I'm just kind of getting the glue, and I don't want to leave like big globs. Now, you'll notice that I didn't put glue on the page, the front side of this, because I want to leave that alone. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp this. Now don't worry, the clamps won't really stick. They're coated, so they won't stick to the glue. So I'm just going to clamp it down, and we'll let that sit over to the side and dry. I'll just do one, because it's all the same process, but I'm going to show you really quick how to fold your book cover, because it's super easy and it's really, really fun. But see how you made that spine? You want to fold along that spine. Now, a cool trick is if you have a bone folder that you can use, which is a super helpful tool when you do paper crafting. It is a little like white tool typically, and you just take and you can score your paper using your bone folder. And I like to do this on a silicone mat because it does give me a little bit of give with my fold. So now I've scored it, so it's going to be a lot easier for me to fold along that edge. And then you're going to do the same thing over here on this edge. Again, I'll just use my bone folder, but you could use anything that has kind of like a blunt edge to it. And then you just fold on that fold. And now you'll see kind of the startings of your book. Do you see how it makes like a little book? Perfect. So now this is not dry, and that's okay, because what we're going to do is unclamp really quick because we need these out of the way. And what I'm going to do now is take my Mod Podge, and it's okay, like I said, it's okay that it's not dry because we're going to go ahead and clamp the cover on. So what I'm going to do is add some more Mod Podge. I want kind of a bunch right here, because this is where it's going to stick to our book. I want to just do that. And I have like a bunch of dried stuff along the edge of my jar. I need to clean this jar up. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got quite a bit. And I want to get in the crevices again. I just want to make sure that everything is really well covered. And then I'm going to go ahead and set my brush down. I'm going to take my book, open it up, And I want to put my pages of my book with that spine portion, with all that Mod Podge. I want to line that up with my book. And don't worry if it's not lined up perfectly your first go. You can slide it around a little bit. And like I said, this isn't going to fit perfectly. You may need to do a little measuring of your own, but it's still going to look super duper cute when we're done. So I just want to make sure to push my spine down. And I want to make sure I get all that glue pushed onto my book cover. Then you can seal your cover onto your pages if you'd like to. I choose to just so that it doesn't get kind of messy when it's like if it gets put in a jar or something. So what I do is I'm going to put Mod Podge both sides. You want to kind of make sure you have a lot. You don't want to do like a ton, but you do want to make sure that it's pretty well coated. And then just kind of press the cover down. And if you missed any spots, make sure you get them. We're going to seal the top of this as well, so don't worry too much about that. We will seal the top of the cover just to keep it nice and clean and neat. But that's another reason I have the silicone mat down, so that it doesn't get stuck to anything, because nothing sticks to silicone. So that was probably a little too much glue, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is set this off to the side and let this dry. And then from here, we can go ahead and finish the rest of our books. Once those are all done and everything is dried, I'll put a final coat of Mod Podge on top of our book. I've assembled a couple more books, so what I want to show you is the last step. So obviously we put the cover on, but I want to make sure that I do seal our cover so that it doesn't get scratched up or banged up in our jar. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the Mod Podge. I'm using matte, but you can use whatever finish you want, satin, gloss, it doesn't matter. And then I do want to make sure that I get around all the pages again. I just like to give it one extra little coat around the edges, and then you want to give it a light coat onto the cover and onto the spine of the book. You don't want to go too heavy, just a nice light cover. And again, I have them all sitting on a silicone mat so that they don't stick to it. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then all I do is just give them a nice light coat. Now again, this is going to get all over your hands. It's no big deal. Mod Podge is non-toxic, so I wouldn't worry about it. But if you don't want it on your hands, you could wear some gloves. I'm just going to give that one a little quick extra stroke, and there we go. So we'll just leave these over to the side to dry. Like I said, you don't have to do this step. This is sort of optional. The tutorial that I watched did it, and I actually liked this because if I'm going to put them in a jar, I don't want them to get damaged when the jar moves around or anything like that, or if we add more books to it. So this is just kind of a way to keep it a little bit more neat and from getting damaged. You want to make sure you get all those corners as well. You just want to try to make this as sturdy as you can. So I'm going to finish up these books, and then we will put a little decal on our jar. I'm just going to use some vinyl, and we will be all finished. Here's everything all finished. Now, obviously, I didn't make a ton of books, but they are really fun and really easy. I did a little adjusting to the sizing, so you'll want to definitely measure before you size the pages that go inside your book. This is so fun. I just added a little bit of vinyl to this little jar so I could put them in there, and the design is just from Design Space. If you guys have any questions about this or any other crafts, please let me know in those comments down below. And be sure to follow the TikTok account that taught me how to make these really fun little tiny books. I hope you guys had so much fun checking out this tutorial. As always, have a wonderful day and happy crafting!